understand this when it comes to spirituality or personal development. So we are spirit operating a human body with access to different tools or faculties, namely our mind power, our willpower, and our emotions. We are not our bodies. Our body is a physical vessel. We also are not our minds. Your mind is a tool that you use to make decisions. The mind generates thoughts. And also, the mind is not the brain. The brain is a physical organ that is a part of the body. Your mind is not physical. Additionally, you are not your emotions. You have emotions. And you're also not your willpower. You have a will. So at our core, we are spirit, life force, prana, chi, source energy, the observer, the watcher, etc. So when you say I am, for example, when I introduce myself on this channel, stating that, hi everyone, Shika here with NarcDojo, where we talk about pathological narcissism, spirituality, and raising your awareness, that I am comes from the spirit level. For pathological narcissists, however, their I am comes from the mind level, and that in itself does not make any sense. And this is why at one level, pathological narcissism is a mental illness, because they have identified with their mind. They essentially believe that they are the mind because they believe that they are the ego. And what is the ego? Well, the ego is a mind-made construct. It is a figment of someone's imagination. For example, if you're on this channel, I can almost posit that after your narcissistic entanglement, you went through an ego death or a spiritual awakening. You may also see this being called the dark night of the soul. And the dark night of the soul essentially is a type of rebirth. And what dies is your egoic sense of self. And when this egoic sense of self dies, then you get an even stronger connection to yourself, hence a spiritual awakening. Pathological narcissists again believe that they are their ego. So you're dealing with someone that is programmed backwards. Pathological narcissists again believe that they are their ego. So you're dealing with someone that is programmed backwards. This is why they need so much attention, admiration, and validation. This is because you need to boost their ego. And they believe that they are the ego. They believe that they are the false self or the mask. So what you're really dealing with is someone that does not want to have an ego death. This is really where the term narcissistic injury comes from. And what is a narcissistic injury? A narcissistic injury is when a pathological narcissist perceives a threat, whether real or imagined, that goes against their grandiose sense of self, that goes against their ego. So what you're dealing with is someone that wants you to validate their false self. And if you don't validate their false self, well, they create another one. What this kind of looks like is someone that pretends to be Wonder Woman. And if you don't validate that mask, then you see them run off and pretend to be Spider-Man. And if that one doesn't work, then they run off again and pretend to be Thor, etc. You really are dealing with someone that did not develop a true personality. They developed multiple false selves, and they use these false selves depending on who they are around. When the narcissist is around me and I like hip-hop and R&B music, then all of a sudden they like hip-hop and R&B music. If you like country music, then all of a sudden the narcissist likes country music. So you're dealing with a mimic. They are mirroring your personality because they really do not have a personality of their own. They have a personality disorder. Oftentimes you'll hear me say that you're dealing with people that change with the wind. They really do not have a very stable base. And they do not have a very stable base because they are not connected to their spirit. Spirit is a constant. Your mind generates approximately like 50,000 thoughts per day. That is a variable, and this is why they change with the wind. Pathological narcissists essentially have identified with something that does not exist. Ego is a mind-made construct created by a child that now exists inside of an adult's body. Pathological narcissists are people that abandon their true selves in childhood for a false self, that which we call the mask. So understand that if somebody abandons themselves or they disconnect from their spirit, they're also disconnecting from their mind. And not only are they disconnecting from their mind, they really are disconnecting from their soul or all of their different tools and faculties. So when it comes to the willpower level, and think of your willpower as a muscle, and your willpower essentially is your ability to control yourself. So someone that lacks will then is going to be impulsive or compulsive, and someone with a very strong will then is going to be highly disciplined. So because of this self-abandonment, when it comes to the will power, then they're very impulsive or compulsive people. They did not develop this will. And when it comes to the area of emotions, then they're dealing with people that are rooted in their shame and they're unable to move past their pride. So they only have access to negative emotions. And this is why you cannot love a narcissist. They cannot receive your love, and they also cannot love you back. They do not have access to love. What they have access to are emotions, from shame to pride. And the shame that we're talking about here is pathologically low self-esteem. Keyword, pathologically low. So you're dealing with someone that does not love themselves. Hence again, they abandon themselves in childhood. It is very important to understand that as we go through this lesson, you should not be projecting your consciousness onto a narcissist. When we are talking about pathologies, we're talking about the study of diseases. We're talking about the study of disorders. Anything that is pathological is happening at an abnormal level. It is happening at an excessive level. A pathology is pattern behavior. So if we say that John is a pathological gambler, then John is not someone that gambles from time to time. John is a gambling addict. He gambles in the excess. Similarly, if we say that John is a pathological liar, then he doesn't simply tell little white lies. He tells a lot of lies. He tells lies in the excess. John then is addicted to lying. And this is where characters like Pinocchio and so on come from. So if you were to look behind the veil, you will see where narcissists are underdeveloped souls. We could also say that they are lost souls, are dark souls. We could also say that they have a personality disorder. So they have disconnected from their minds, or they're losing their minds. They have dysregulated emotions, and their willpower is also compromised. You see, identification with the mind is one of the main signs of mental illnesses, because again, you have a mind, you are not the mind. So if pathological narcissists then believe that they are their mind, then there's no one operating this ship. This means that the ship that you are on is Titanic, and there really is only one way that Titanic goes. Pathological narcissists are on a path of destruction. The captain has abandoned the ship. The driver is in the back seat. You're dealing with someone then that does not have the ability to control their emotions. They cannot control themselves because they lack will. They lack this muscle. And also you're dealing with someone that is losing their mind. So where did the narcissist go? Well, they are somewhere where they shouldn't be, or we could say that they are nowhere. We could say that they are trapped in their ego, believing that they are perfect, and perfect people do not need to change. So if you're perfect, then you won't grow. And if you won't grow, then you will devolve because you're not evolving.